Right, first of all, I'd really like to say thanks to everybody who viewed my recent YouTube video or commented. It's appreciated. I've only really set up this YouTube video to help people out and just give them some of my experience, really. So any positive feedback that I get is really appreciated, okay? So what do I want to talk about today? Well, I've just come back for some casting tuitions. I'm sitting in the house on my own. So I've decided to help people with spooling their reels up. Now, a very simple thing to do actually, but the advice out there on spooling up is like amazing. It's really confusing, it can be as well, for such a simple process. So I'm going to tell you how I do it, how I've done it for years and years and years, how I've done it for my casting competitions, how I do it for my fishing. And once you see it, you'll just think, right, is that all there is to it? And to be honest, that's it. That's all there is to it. So don't look too far into things. That's one of the things that I'm trying to get across on my YouTube videos is a lot of time there's so much confusing information out there, and I think a lot of it is just for something to say, and it don't even need to be said. So that's where I'm going with this. Anyway, so what I'm going to do is show you how I do it, how I do the spooling up. But before that, I just want to have a look at the tapers that you can put on your spools, okay? Because when I'm going to try and get the best performance out of my reel that I can, there's a certain taper that I like on my reels, and you can adjust your tapers by using the washers that come in the box with the reels. And the washers look like this. You see those washers? They come with most reels, especially with Shimano and Daiwa. I use Shimano reels, but I know that they do come in there. I'm not sure about the other reels because at the minute I only really use Shimano. So, but they come out of an Ultegra box, these ones, okay? The Shimano Ultegra. Now, by using them, you can change the tapers on the reels. And what I mean by that is if you get a spool, a spool can either have a front taper on it, it can be a nearly level taper, or it can have a reverse taper. And you can change the washers so that the reels, the line has the taper as well, okay? Let's have a look. Let's try and keep things simple here. Now, what I'm going to show you first is a spool that had no washers put on the reel at all, okay? It had no washers on the reel at all. And when you put no washers in the reel, it gives you a reverse taper. And a reverse taper means the line is going to bunch on the front. It's gone up onto the front there, and it's going to be lower at the back. So the reverse taper goes like that, okay? And I'm going to just try and show you this. Now, it's not that clear. I'm trying to get it in focus. But you'll be able to see that on the front lip, it's quite bunched up. That's a reverse taper. I do not like reverse tapers, okay? So if I was going to try and cast as far as I can, I would not like to use that taper. The reason being, as the line comes off the reel, it's going to rub a fair bit at the front of the spool. And when I'm casting, I do not want that, okay? So that's done with having no washers in the reel, on the spindle of the reel at all, okay? That is a reverse taper. Right, what I'd like to look at now is a reel that I spooled up, and when I got my Ultegra reel out of the box, it had 3 washers on it. So what I done, I added another 3. So there were 6 washers now on the spindle of the reel. And that produced this. Now, if you can see that, that's higher on the back. That's the higher on the back of the spool. And it's a little bit lower on the front. So what that's giving you is a forward taper. And for casting, that's what I like, a slight forward taper. There is reels with steeper tapers than that. And you can get the reel coming down like that. But you have to remember, as soon as that taper gets above the lip, it's harder to control the line, because the lip is what controls the line. So you start going above the lip when you fill up a spool, you can get wind knots. That's because there's no lip to control it. So that is a front taper, okay? Forward taper. And that's how I prefer my reels. And if you look, I'm trying to get it in focus for you guys. If you look, it's quite high up on the lip. It's probably a mil under the lip. Probably a mil under the lip. And that is where I like to fill the line to as well, okay? So let's have a look at these washers and where they go. Now, I've got a reel here. And this is my old Tegra, okay? And I've taken the spool off. So if you can imagine the spool is there, you can take that off. Let's wind, wind, wind. That's that off, okay? Now, if you look, so that section there that comes off, that section there, we don't want a bit of metal off, that there, that just fits on top of that spindle, let me just put it half on so you can see it. It's really actually hard doing this for the camera. There. That bit of plastic there, that is what holds the washers, okay? The washers sit in there. And at the minute, there's none in there. So, because there's none in there, that's going to give me a reverse taper. I don't want that. So what I want in there is 6 washers, 6 to 7 washers I like on the old Tegra. So how you do this, so simple. All you got to do is get your washers, okay? The washers are there. See them in the packet. And count them out. And I'm going to go for 7 washers. 7 washers seem to work well on the old Tegra reel if you want a slightly forward taper. So we'll just count them out. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. 7 washers I need to put on the spindle of the reel. All you've got to do is get every washer there and push that onto the reel. And as always in a camera, easier said than done. So that's that one washer on there, okay? They just slide on there like that. And there's a little grooves in it, and there, so the drag goes to it. But I'm just going to show you how you do it. See that washer there? It's just being pushed on there. And then you push it down, okay? You just need to manipulate it a little bit and it slides down like that. So that's one washer in that spool, okay? Now I've got to go through the process 7 times. Okay, so I'll just do one more. That's going on there like that, and that goes there, okay? So, without boring you with putting 7 washers on, that's 2 washers on there now. All you have to do then, imagine that you'd put all 7 on. All you got to do now, put your spool on, put that on like that. He says, bloody dark around here. And with those washers on there, that's going to give you that type of line lay. Okay, so let's just get there. That type of line lay, which I think is perfect. Now, I've just been getting a reel ready for casting with my 10-pound line on and braided leader. This is my Aerotechnium, and I've loaded it up with 10-pound line. Got a braided leader on here, I'm just pulling off. And this one come with a thicker washer. So what I've done is I added 2 more washers to it, okay? And I added 2 more washers, and that has given me that line lay there. With the yellow line, it's actually easier to see, I think. Look how far I've gone up to the lip. There's probably a mil under the lip. And that's how I like my reels. That's exactly how I'd use it for long range fishing or long range casting. So, for me, when you usually get a reel, the first time that you put it on, if you don't touch the washers, it's going to be level. If you add washers, you're going to get a forward taper. If you take washers away, which I wouldn't do unless that the taper is too front tapered. But if you take the washers away, it's going to give you a reverse taper. And I wouldn't advise like reverse tapers. You want level or slightly forward. So I'm not going to go on too much about that. So that is how you get the tapers on your reel. What I'd like to do now is just go through how I load my reels. And it's the most basic way. There's, as I said, there's loads of information, but I do it the most basic way. And the thing that I really need, like to do this, is either my wife, who's not here at the minute. So what I would use is one of these. And this is a fantastic, handy bit of kit because I can use this anywhere. I can use it if I'm fishing, I can use it on the casting field. Let me show you how it works. And then what I'm going to do is I'm going to actually stop the video after I showed you this, and I'm going to film spooling up at another time, okay, when it's a bit lighter and I can do it outside because I'm just stuck in here at the minute and I thought I'd just knock this video out. But this is brilliant. I love this. Now this is a brilliant little tool because what you can do is this bit here, which goes bigger and smaller, goes around your bank stick, and the spool of line just fits in here. So it just fits in between there. And you can put the tension on, so you can wind it on as hard or as lightly as you like. Now you imagine that with the bank stick on, that is a brilliant bit of kit, okay? And I'd be lost without this. I love this. So I'm gonna tell you what I do with my line in the next part of this video.